What up?
What's up, man?
You got the product?
Yeah, I got the product. You got the money?
Yeah, but let me see the product first. Oh,
Where's the money?
got it right here. Left a little something extra in there for you.
Yeah, man. Look at it.
Hot. It's hot. Ordering from a chef doesn't have to be so discreet. Download the authentic Chef to You app and get chef-prepared meals ordered straight to your door with the click of a button. Download today.
What up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Sports Talk49. Always live and exclusively here to bring you all the information around the league, what's real and what's not. And I can't go without giving a proper introduction to my brother from another mother. You've known him a bunch of times on here, Mr. Ron Butler from Agency One Athlete Management Group. And Ron, before you even go into, I gotta do this because you're a friend of mine. We've been talking for a long time. I gotta say the growth of what you've done is astronomical. Not just you and your team, your brother Ashton, everybody out there. What you guys accomplished, getting Jaden Daniels. We'll talk about that. Levante, DP, Benjamin, all the guys that you got across the league, man. And you being an African American and your own entrepreneur, pretty much in a field, that's a dog eat dog world. I just want to shout out your accomplishments before I got rolling to anything else. And I just want to say I love you and I love to see what you're doing.
Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you, man. Definitely a warm welcome, man. Anytime we can get on and just chop it up and talk some ball. I know it's been a little while. It's been a journey. Let's just say that. Let's just say that the last year or so has been a little journey, but we here, we're making it happen, and we're gonna continue to make it happen. So I appreciate the support.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to give that out in case somebody don't know. So let's just start it from the top. Let's talk about the brand new, the shiny new car now, and Jaden Daniels, Heisman Trophy winner, the Washington Commander now. Probably gonna be their franchise guy. I love. I'm a UNC guy, and I love Sam Howell, and I watched him all through college. Sam Howell reminds me a lot of Baker, but that's a whole nother conversation. Yeah, yeah. So you got a good quarterback group out there. Tell me what that was like, that whole process, in a short version, from him getting drafted, him coming onto the team, getting drafted, and then this moment right here.
Combined rushing and passing over 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns. He won the Heisman with Walter Camp, the Unitas, the O'Brien, and Manning Awards.
Obviously, man, being in that situation and just going through the process of recruiting him, the type of young man that he is, just funny dude, competitive, loves football, just a people person, but he works hard at his craft. So it was no surprise that he went as high as he did. I was able to watch him from his freshman year when he was at Arizona State and all the way through his last year when he won the Heisman at LSU. It was definitely just a remarkable journey for him because, a lot of people wrote him off, from what he did from his rookie year, his freshman year, and then obviously, transferring over to LSU after year 3, and still, the naysayers were out there in terms of how good he was and what round he could go in and this, that, and the other. But just watching him last year, just put it all together and just seeing it live, man, it was different. Like his touch, his release, his swagger, his ability to stay calm under pressure. It was a thing of beauty to see, man. And just me from being in the coaching, coming from that coaching world and having just having that eye for talent and that eye for the ability to understand the progressions and everything that you have to do in terms of being a quarterback. So to be able to see it live and how he handled it and how he managed it, even when he faced adversity, man, it was exciting. I'm not gonna lie to you, it was exciting. And just for us, just for me and my team to kind of be there at the end to get an opportunity to be able to, go in and, win the business and get him on our side and him wanting to help us build out, a smaller agency, obviously with, guys like Devontae and DP and Ernest Jones and all of those guys. He wanted to, just be a part of something where he could say, hey, you know what, we built this thing together. And I was really appreciative in terms of this when he came to me and said, hey, look, you're going to be my guy. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. So I was excited about that.
No, it's definitely. I asked Levante that a long time ago after he signed the first extension back after the Super Bowl about the relationship between you guys, and he couldn't. Levante always got that big Colgate smile. He couldn't say nothing but positive things about it because it's important to, have that trust between you two if you got your best interests, and the contract deal and what you have visions for yourself as far as your career.
Right.
Because now he's such a young man and he's got to learn everything, how the business runs, and we get to see how this journey goes.
Definitely. Well, I'm excited for his journey, not just because obviously he's my client, but I look at him as like a younger brother. Just our ability just to have a great energy, and then also with his family, just seeing what they, just the blueprint in terms of them getting him to that point where he is right now. It's awesome to see. When you hear the story, it's really awesome. So, glad I'm able to be a part of the journey moving forward.
Definitely that. What is something that that he asked you, like specifically, like as being like coming into the league? Did you give him any type of like good solid advice or something coming into, or did he ask you to talk to one of your other guys in the agency?
No, he's more of an energy guy, man. He's more of an energy guy. Like he's not, obviously, in this business, everybody's not going to be for you. But I felt like the first time we sat down and we had a chance to, just have some real conversation and laugh a little bit. I think it goes far beyond just being able to have somebody to do your contract. I think that you have to have somebody where you feel like the relationship is built on trust, it's built on, good energy. It's built on synergy, and for us, it was easy. Like it was really, really easy. Like it was, as far as like just being in the same room and being able to laugh about certain things, and it was just simple. It wasn't hard. It wasn't one of those where people were like, oh, it must have been like this rough, recruiting process and this, that, and the other. I just played my position, but I just felt like what we had developed in terms of the friendship, the partnership, the relationship, it was organic. So, I mean, same thing with Levante, 13, 14 years ago. It was very organic. It wasn't anything that I felt like I couldn't be myself or he couldn't be himself. And I think when people realize, like, yo, this is who you are, this is who I am, and we connect, I mean, it goes far beyond just, apples and oranges. Let's do a contract and get some money and this, that, and the other. It's like, hey, you're a part of my team. You're a part of my family now. So, let's have a good time. Let's enjoy ourselves and go out and build it and watch him, become rookie of the year, potential rookie of the year, all Pro Bowl, Super Bowl champion. I'm excited, man. I mean, he just has that energy that people just love to be around. So for me, it was easy.
Yeah, he definitely does. The buzz is definitely around him. Washington Commander fans are excited about him. Former LSU guys are excited for him, happy for him. I did a story on him about him in camp. He was looking really good out there, and he looks like he's generally having fun, and that's what it's important. He can focus on playing football and not worry about the business aspects. I mean, you think about it, but that's what he pays you for.
Right.
And just be himself. And it looks like he's transitioning well, much like Caleb Williams is in Chicago. It seems like this rookie class is going to be fun to watch with Drake, man, all those guys. So it's going to be fun that he's going to be right in the mix of all that, and these guys will always be entwined together.
Definitely.
One more thing on the Commanders. Have you got a chance to talk to Magic?
No, I haven't talked to Magic.
It's the entrepreneur right there.
Yeah. I haven't had a chance to bump in. I haven't had a chance to bump into him yet, but I have had a chance. I have had spent some time with guys like Doug Williams, who are
legends.
Who's legends. Being in that space. I spent a little bit of time with Tampa Bay, New England Patriot, great, Tom Brady, as we went through this process. So it was good to be able to do that and hear him talk to Jaden and just kind of give him some advice. So it's definitely opened up some different opportunities to get in front of people who have done great things in terms of this industry, but also other industries as well. So I will say it has opened some doors, that we probably wouldn't be able to walk through without having this type of situation. So, not Magic yet, though. We'll get there.
I'm sure you will, because everything that you got going on seems to succeed because you guys put in the work and you've earned what you've gotten so far. So we talking about players. I want to talk about this one thing. I forgot to ask you. Okay. How did it feel for? I know it's off Jaden Daniel time. How did it feel for DP to go back to San Diego? Los Angeles now. Excuse me.
Honestly, DP is a lot like Jaden in the sense we're very easygoing. Wherever he goes, he's gonna light up a room. He just has that energy about him as well.
Stay hydrated.
Yeah, stay hydrated. He's very just a people person. You see how he is with the with the fans and with his teammates and everything. So people like to be around him. So just going through that process when I originally talked to the Chargers, and we kind of talked about the potential of him coming back and what Coach Harbaugh had in store.
A lot of buzz out there now.
Yeah. They look pretty good so far. They have their first game this weekend as well. But it's one of those situations where I talked to him, I set him down. Going back to Cali, where it all started.
Yep.
The goal is, if we can maybe do one more deal after this, and then, he'll ride off into the sunset from where he started, which is in, with the Chargers, then that would probably be an ideal situation for him. So, for him, I think that just going back there with the right coach and the right organization, with the right teammates, him having the I guess you could say the history of being a part of the San Diego Chargers, not the Los Angeles Chargers.
Right.
I think it's something for him to that he's embraced and he's excited about, and being able to play in a new stadium and all the other stuff is good too. But he's excited, man. So for me, it was like, hey, let's figure out how to get something done. We potentially like to be able to stay there after this season. Maybe we can negotiate something. We'll see. We'll see when we get there.
Yeah, he was interesting. With you, me, and him, and Deshaun talking. He's got big personality, and what I got from him, his name is important to him. From what I got, and the one thing that it didn't surprise me when he signed with the Chargers, because I remember something he specifically said in the interview, and it was, I didn't want my name to be involved with he's always injured.
Right.
And he had a lot of that in San Diego at the time with the Chargers. Of course, we know the other story. Went to Carolina, went to the Raiders, and became Pro Bowl player. Just what he said he would do with the Prove It deal, and he did everything he said he was going to do. So that didn't surprise me. I'm looking forward to seeing him playing it out there with all that buzz going out there. Looking to see that excitement.
Definitely. Definitely. No, he's going to definitely make some noise, man. I'm looking forward to him to have a really healthy season and being able to, like I know he can do. Hopefully, get back to the Pro Bowl again and do some special things.
Speaking of, so we were talking about quarterbacks and stuff like that. So what do you know specifically? Well, first off, I mean, the whole quarterback situation, guys that have one successful year are now getting paid higher than a guy that's won 3 Super Bowls. And I get it. You've educated many on the how contracts work, whether or not they caught on to the stuff you said. You basically laid the blueprint out how it works. But what is your thoughts on all of this going on now that you have a high-priced quarterback now, and you will be in those talks very shortly? I can guarantee it.
Right.
What is your thoughts on this? Are the owners pushing towards a cap on it? Are they lining quarterbacks up in tiers? What are you hearing that you can speak on?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, I'm excited about it. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to sit here and be like, it's not a good thing and this, that, and the other. But I think that in order to have success in this league, you're going to have a franchise quarterback.
Yep.
A lot of times, just kind of looking at, certain players that have gotten paid over the last couple of years, sometimes it's about being in the right situation at the right time, waiting your turn. And when it's time for you to put on in terms of winning ball games and potentially getting your team to the playoffs and having your team believe in you, having the front office believe in you that you're our future, then, if it's time for you to cash in, is that at that point, then absolutely you deserve to get paid because you're in the right position at the right time. Now,
okay. So you're saying it's more situational?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it is. I mean, if you look at the situation, say in Green Bay with Jordan Love, who hadn't really played up until this year, and then if you look at the last 8 games of the season, I mean, he balls out. Okay, they go to the playoffs. They're probably a couple plays away of getting to that next round of the playoffs, and he was the future. So they realized, like, hey, this is our guy. He's in a contract year. He did what he needed to do at that time to be able to get paid. So now he's one of the highest paid at his position. And like I said, sometimes it's about being in the right place at the right time. And when you get the opportunity to hit, you do what you got to do. You hit. That's what it's about being in a contract year. It's like, yeah, you have to, when it's time for you to perform and you're in a contract year, you better go. If you ball out, you're going to eat. You're going to get the bag. So I think in his situation, that's what he did. But then you also look at a guy like Tua down in Miami, who's not one of the highest paid quarterbacks, but he earned huge money. And I think that the only reason he's not one of the highest paid is probably because of his concussion history.
Correct.
He may be 1, 2, or 3 concussions away from being done.
He was actually contemplating retirement, if you remember at that time when he was contemplating retiring.
Yeah, you remember. So I think that for the Dolphins, they wanted to reward him. They felt like he could be the future. They felt like he was committed to doing all the necessary things in order to, become a better player. He was heavy last year. I don't know if you remember, Ryan Clark gave him shit because he was so heavy. He was, they felt
Chubby
like he didn't look like
whatever they called him. What they call him, Chubby Tua, whatever. Yeah.
But he did what was necessary to just to win over that locker room, to win over his teammates and, the organization. And I think that when you do that and you're committed to, working on your body, perfecting your craft, putting yourself in a situation where you could capitalize. I think he did all of the right things, and I think it was at the right time. So he was another guy who was able to get to the bag, and he's happy. The city of Miami is happy that they were able to retain him, and they feel like they have their guy for the future. So now it's, hey, we got the pieces. Let's make it work. Let's see if we can get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and it's definitely those windows aren't forever. So,
Correct.
Yeah, you got to kind of capitalize, and especially Miami shuffling so many quarterbacks since Dan Marino. So, hopefully they get some stability there. You got a great head coach. You got some great key pieces. You've made an identity. So hopefully they can keep that going forward. Jordan Love's situation was interesting, though, with getting paid. because you said a key part there. The last 8 games, I was like, Ron, we're always on the same page, you and I, because the first we always are, because the first 8 games was kind of bad. It was they were media was everywhere. Yep. We had no idea what was going on. Then the light clicked. I don't know if you ever saw the interview. I interviewed Ryan Clark. He's the ones that told us, that he could make all those throws like Aaron Rodgers. He had to, he's around there, all that, scrambling, buying time, and you got to see what he was. Kenny Clark. Why I say Ryan Clark? Kenny Clark. Kenny Clark. You got to see all that later on with some of those throws under pressure and things. I'm like, okay, he does got that intangibles, but can he do that again now that you are the guy? So,
yeah, I mean, I think he. Oh, there you go. I think he was spot on. And then sometimes you have to give these guys time to develop. You got to get your feet wet. You got to go through your ups and downs. But I think he was one of those guys that kind of went through ups and downs at the beginning of the year.
Definitely did.
And then it clicked.
Yeah. You know what that remind me of now that you mention it? I know you can't compare apples to oranges on this one, but the year Tom Brady won the Super Bowl with the Bucs. Yeah, so Ron, we talked all about these contracts. We were talking about Jordan Love and everything.
Right.
And we segue that into the owners talking about a quarterback cap. I know the last time the league talked about caps, and when I mean cap, like salary, highest you can make is when first overall picks, those top guys, you remember they were making astronomical salaries first coming into the league, having proven everything, and they obviously capped that off.
Right.
From what you're hearing, I'm sure there's not a whole lot of information out yet. From what you're hearing, is it going to be something on the on the surface of that? They make a cap. Of course, they're going to have to do that with the new CBA when that comes up. Right. What do you know, and what's your thoughts about that?
Well, truth be told, I don't know a whole lot about it just yet. I'm pretty sure over the next couple of months there'll be some discussions about the potential of doing that. I believe in the off season, at the owners' meetings and with the clubs, there'll be an opportunity for them to discuss that. It dates back to, like you said, having draft picks that get drafted, that high, whether it was first pick or second pick under the old CBA, it was a little bit more geared towards the players from a benefit standpoint. When they went back and voted this last time, the second time around, it was more about, we don't want guys to be able to come into the league and earn that type of money without really proving themselves. You have guys that are veteran players that have been around for a while that felt like, hey, why should this guy who gets drafted, top 5 earn this amount of money if he hasn't proven himself? There needs to be some type of structure in place where, it gives them an opportunity to earn money, but to give a guy $50 million guaranteed, at the first pick, and he hasn't thrown a pass, or he hasn't sacked a quarterback, or he hasn't caught a ball, that's a lot considering the body of work that they haven't put in yet to be able to earn that type of dollar amount. So just to kind of go back in terms of what you were saying about the owners, I think that's going to be driven by the owners to separate the cap in terms of quarterbacks as it relates to being able to, I guess you can go out and potentially earn this dollar amount. There needs to be a separate cap set up because a lot of that money is eaten up by the quarterbacks, especially from a cap standpoint. So if there's a separate way of, doing it where you can now, maybe you put a little bit of that money into your cap and not all of it, but then have a separate, pot for the actual quarterback cap, that could be something potentially they can work out. But I think, will it be totally, the whole salary, the average per year under this quarterback cap, or would it be half and half? I just don't know yet. So I think the more we kind of go through the next few months, off season 2025, I think we'll start hearing more and more about that, with the potential of the owners agreeing to do it. And then the league.
When is the CB up, by the way?
Oh man, I really, off the top of my head, I wouldn't be able to tell.
That's what I couldn't remember either, off the top of my head. Yeah,
I don't know if it was a 5-year deal or if it was a little bit more.
Right.
Yeah,
we can always Google that. I couldn't remember anyway. I'm assuming if you're having that conversation, they're having that conversation. It's got to be somewhere in the realm of very soon, at least within the next couple of years. What do I want to say? Oh yeah, so the way you said it almost reminds me kind of like the NBA, where they have the max contracts and the super max contracts,
right?
And maybe that's possibly something they can go with the quarterback, or like you said, you just have a separate column for the quarterback,
right?
And then you filter in: do they get the max contract in that bracket, or do they not? Depending on whatever they work out in their contract negotiations. You have a quarterback on your team now at Agency One Athletic Management Group. Have you guys had those conversations with him? When your contract conversations on what you want to talk about and what you don't want to talk about?
Well, during that period where we're working, we're talking through deals. We're talking about, especially when any quarterbacks get done now in terms of extensions. We always discuss it. We always hop on the phone. Hey, you see what Jordan Love got? Hey, you see what Tua got? And we have those conversations. But if I'm just being honest, the type of player this young man is, he's not necessarily focused on, 5 years from now, 6 years from now. He's focused on the now. He's focused on being the best version of him. He's focused on being the best quarterback that he can for his franchise. And I believe if he does that, he can one day become the highest paid quarterback that in NFL history. That's my goal. That would be my goal for him as his agent. It will also be, are we chasing the money or are we chasing the greatness?
All right, go ahead.
Okay, so for a guy like Jaden, obviously, you want to be able to maximize the ability to earn top dollar, but I feel like the type of young man that I'm working with, he's so humble, but he's also a football player. He loves the game. He wants to focus on building this roster. He wants to focus on just having a great legacy. And I feel like, and I've always felt like this ever since I've been in the agent space, is that if you chase the greatness, everything else comes with it. The money comes with it. The fame comes with it. The notoriety comes with it. The legacy comes with it. And, you look at a guy like Levante David, who's, earned over $100 million in terms of his career and playing for the same organization for all of these years.
Through the mud, got them deals.
So I think that both of these guys have similar characteristics in which they carry themselves. And, I think, Jaden is going to be very special. And, he's definitely in a situation where, you kind of peek at those things and see what guys got. But, you still got to go out and play football to earn that.
Yeah, because you guys worked out a deal with Jaden's contract is worth what 37.75 over 4 years, right? It puts him at what 24.3, I believe, or something like that.
That's correct.
Somewhere around there, and I think the bonus in the 5th year option.
Right.
So, what was that? What was that negotiation like? Did Jaden say, "Hey, Ron, this is the number I want to be at," or did you kind of do how you are? You're a coach yourself. You were at one time. You coached him in. Hey, this is what happens here. This is what this guy does in negotiations and things like that. Like, how was that conversation like?
Well, the money is the money in terms of the slot. So you're not necessarily negotiating the dollar amount. You're negotiating the terms. You're negotiating how the signing bonus gets paid out. Some teams like to split it up for cap purposes. Some teams cash flow issues, when they're trying to get these deals done. But for us, it was really about making sure the guarantee was the guarantee and being able to earn the guarantee. A lot of things that a lot of times guys don't necessarily understand that you still have to earn the guarantees.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So as we were going through it, it took us a little while to get it done. because we have to factor in all of the negatives that could potentially happen. When the signing bonus gets paid out, how does this certain team pay out their signing bonuses? So normally, they defer where they'll pay you half now, 2 weeks after signing, and then in the off season, once the new league year rolls around, they pay you the other half. We didn't want to do that. Okay, we didn't want to be in a position where my client couldn't get all his money up front, and it was one of those things that we went in and requested, because if you look at the past 5 years in terms of how Washington paid out their money, it was kind of like a defer. We give you half now, half later, or we'll split it up in 3. So we wanted that removed. We were able to get that done. There was also certain things in the language in which, things happen in this league, or things happen in life that you can't control. And so we didn't want him to be in a position where, hey, you know what, you get stopped by the police in a small town and you get arrested on a Friday. The judge is not seeing you until Monday. We didn't want to be in a situation where a team would be able to go back and take his signing bonus back or release him based off of the period of time in terms of, the team finding out what's going on and this, that, and the other, but you can't be seen by a judge, until 48, 72 hours later. So that was a part of the negotiations as well, to get that changed. And there were a lot of little details in there that we went back and forth on for a little while. And, it could have gotten done a little bit sooner, in my opinion, but we did find some middle ground and we worked it out. And working with those guys over there in Washington, it wasn't hard. I'm familiar with everybody and have a good relationship with everybody prior to Jayden getting drafted.
Good. That definitely helps out negotiations, so they kind of can see where your headspace is when you're working out deals and things like that. And obviously, they want obviously Jayden was their guy, and they want him in their organization. And it seemed like it was pretty painless working out that deal. Unlike some other people, they don't meet eye to eye. With contract deals. Yeah, but you always been that kind of guy, Ron. You're easy to work with.
Man, you try to be easy. Well, sometimes things get a little murky, they get a little muddy, and you got to figure out how to meet in the middle. And I just felt like the organization understood. It was definitely professionalism in terms of working through it. And I'm glad we were able to get it done. Both sides were happy, and now it's time to play some ball. Let's get it.
Yeah, right. It's nice, especially for a player. You ain't got to worry about that no more. All right, the business aspect is done. Right. Now we move on. And speaking of moving on, you talking about murky waters and having to talk about, well, I wouldn't even call it murky, but I would talk about, having to present your work in front of you to get what you want. And what I mean by that, you mentioned his name earlier, is Lavonte David, and getting that 2 year new deal, another new deal done. You and I have talked a long time, and you felt like Lavonte deserves a pay raise for the play, because obviously that's where when you get to that age, people start looking at your groundwork. What does he have left, and things like that. And you've voiced that for forever, that he's always said he plays with his play, and let that speak for itself.
Yes.
You did get I saw with the contract deal that you got, he did get a bump up from where he was. How was that? Is that exactly how the conversation went? Was Lavonte, happy for when the numbers, like, what, how was that, working out that deal?
Well, like I said, every team is different. I've worked with the Buccaneers here for a long time. It's really about, number one, how they value you in terms of
the player,
but also your value that you have in terms of being that leader in the locker room. And, with Lavonte being in season 13, he's going to continue to play as long as he wants to play. He didn't slow down last year. I really don't foresee him slowing down this year based off of a lot of conversation him and I have shared about the team. And he's a very quiet, unique personality. But I can tell that he's looking forward to the season, and he knows that they got something over there, like they like something's cooking. So I think he's very confident about that. And in regards to negotiating the deal, anytime you see, a guy that's 25 years old, 26 years old, get 16, 17, 18 million dollars a year, you got to look at it and kind of scratch your head and say, okay, well, what is this guy doing that, I'm not doing? And what's the difference? Well, obviously, we're talking about the 8-year difference in terms of age. And in this league, they're waiting for you to slow down. They're waiting for you to stop playing at a high level. They're when you hit that 30 mark, now we can kind of play with the money a little bit and leverage, just say, different situations and looking at what this guy's making on this team at this age and that guy's making at this, this team on this at that age. And you factor in all of those different things as you're negotiating. So if you look at the group of guys that you compare Levante with, are like guys like Demario Davis and Bobby Wagner and just those guys that are over that 32, 33 mark, but are still playing at a high level. And I believe it's a separate scale for those guys. They're going to be bunched together, okay? And you're going to have your younger guys like your Patrick Queens and your what's my guy from the Ravens?
Raekwon.
You're going to look at my guy from the Chicago Bears. I'm drawing a blank, but you have a group
Edmonds.
Edmonds. Okay, so you look at that group of guys who are 3-down backers, and you kind of separate them in tiers. It's not necessarily a level of play, but I believe it's the age factor. 25, 26, 27, 24, 25, 26. And then you look at those older guys that are still starters, still captains, still play every game, still effective, still don't come off the field, play 99.9% of the snaps, and you put them over here in this other group, and you say, okay, well, based on these guys in this group, none of these guys are making $10 million plus. At one point in time, they were making $10 million plus. But now we're going to factor in the age factor here. And that's how we're going to devalue what we pay them is because of their age. It's not because of their play. So when you go in and you're negotiating these deals, you got to look at both. But you ultimately know, hey, my guy's 33, 34 years old. He's earned $80 million, $90 million.
Right.
Okay, but still continues to play at a high level. What is his worth? Okay, well, I know he's worth probably $17 million a year, but the team, there's no team that's going to pay that.
Right.
So you go back to your team and say, hey, look, last year you paid him, let's just say it was 7. We took a cut because the linebacker off-ball position was devalued, and now we want to get a raise. What does that look like? And so we went back and forth for a little while. We sat on it as we negotiated, as deals were getting done. We sat on it, and we realized, like, hey, we don't have to rush. This is up to you. Move how you want to move. Okay, so we're going to sit still. And so with the team, we just kind of, we let them come to us and say, hey, look, this is what we're willing to do. And then we counter offered, and we were able to get where we got to based off of the counter offer.
Good. And I'm glad the deal got done the way it did, because I think he's definitely a key cog to that. And, I asked these questions to segue into another one. Okay. And that question, you and I think so much alike.
Go ahead, Blake. Go ahead.
Although Vontae Davis' number is 5'4", there was another on the opposite side of that 4'5". Now you talk about leadership and value to the team, and he just did a podcast on the pivot. Right. Some of that. Now I understand he's not your client. That's Tori's client. Tori, another guy who's worked out some monstrous deals with various players around the league.
Right.
What do you want to speak on, or whatever as Levante told you and all that? I'm glad, Dev, for your answer. I say I'm just glad Devin said his side of the story. That's why I kind of started doing media so people can understand people's like what's really said, because I'm not bought and paid by anybody, so I have no narrative to spin.
Right.
I not pushing something to try to hurt somebody's character to devalue them into getting a contract or nothing. I'm here for stories and to hear what the truths are in these things. So that's why I like to do these things. So with that being said, what have you heard, or what were your thoughts on that, on the how everything went? He said when he came into the league he wanted $100 million, which is fine. You can say whatever you want coming to the league. You got to put in the body of work. That's fine if you want to do that.
Right.
So like, what's your thoughts on how that all transpired? Those two were very twined in together. Levante said right there with you and I and Deshaun on there that he wanted to do his contract to the end of when Devins ran out. That's when he kind of, said, when his contract ended. Like, what are your thoughts on all that?
Well, I look at it twofold. Number one, his agent, Tory Dandy, who I respect a lot, good friend of mine. And then I look at it from being an agent, I understand our job is to get our clients the most money or maximize their careers or their earnings as much as we possibly can. So I understand that dynamic. In terms of Levante, I'm gonna go to Levante and I'm gonna come back to this.
Yep.
In terms of Levante has always loved Devin.
He's made that clear.
He's made it very clear. Whether he's talking, publicly or he's just talking to me directly, he looks at Devin as his little brother. He always wanted to make sure that he prepared him for when it was his time to take over and lead and have the keys basically to the building. I can't speak on, what happened in terms of why he wasn't able to fulfill the role that they have for him. But I will say Levante and I hadn't really talked about it too much. He's in season mode. He's training camp. His focus is, let me make sure the guy next to me and, my other 9 guys.
Right now. Yep.
Yeah, that he's so locked in, and he's not going to allow himself to have very many distractions whatsoever. But I feel like, Devin needed to get some things off of his chest. And a lot of times these players use the media, they use their platforms, they use social media in order to get their point across. And maybe this was weighing on him for a little while in terms of how things transpired, but we all know in football, it's about what have you done lately to be able to earn what you're looking for. I'm not sure, when he went through the process of, being benched last year, negotiations the year before, prior to the season. I'm not sure what that was like for him and what that was like for Tory, so I can't really speak on that. But I think that it's really, you have to look at the body of work when it's time for you to get paid. That's really how this thing works. What do you do in your contract year that warrants us paying you, $100 million? Now, if you're playing at an elite level and your body of work is phenomenal, then you can earn $100 million. That we've seen it. We've seen it league wide. If you value that player and he's an elite player, there's going to be somebody that's going to be willing to pay it. And whether it's your team or somebody else's team, somebody's going to be willing to pay it. And I think with the Eagles, I'm not sure what he ended up getting with the Eagles. I don't know if it was close to a minimum deal or if it was $5 million or $8 million. I'm not sure what the numbers were, but I just know Levante, loves Devin. Has always said that. He's always, gave me that message. Like, that's a little bro. I want to make sure he's good. This is my goal for him. And he's never looked at Devin and less than the little brother, and that he wants the best for him and put him in the best position to be able to succeed. So that's what I will say about the situation.
Yeah, a lot of people will spin whatever Devin said in there, but the biggest things I got out of that, I said on my reels, Devin has never been known to me to be a liar.
Mm-hmm.
He's never given me any reason, so I have no reason not to believe what he's saying is true.
Right.
When he said, it's the sad part that when you love the game of football that much, you're willing to sacrifice things for it and all of that. And what I got out of Devin, just listening, just the way he was speaking in a way was, I read between the lines.
Mm-hmm.
Your love for the game has nothing to do with the business aspect of this.
Right.
and fans, and I know when you're fans, when you're watching this, like I said, this is all true, and I'm telling you, they don't always match up, because the business is going to do what the business is going to keep doing to make money, and that's ultimately what the NFL is. It's not high school anymore.
Right.
College game is totally changed now. That's a whole nother conversation.
Yep.
And a guy wants to do things to get paid and secure his family. Devin said he had plans to buy 100 acres and stuff like that, and things for his horses and stuff like that. When they wasn't offered the contract he wanted, that changed. And he just didn't understand why he became a villain, because for once he wanted to be selfish, to better secure something for himself, instead of putting himself behind the team and all that, not going to see his family. And they said he had his father's death. He made a lot of sacrifices for the team, but at the end of the day, I'm sorry to say it, but it's true. The team doesn't know you shit. They said it's a business, you know what I'm saying? And most what he said he wish he would have handled it differently, and that just comes with getting older and learning how the things go.
Of course. I think that's in any professional setting. There's a starting point, as you come in as an employee. There's that middle point, and then there's that upper echelon point in terms of being able to just advance and be in another position. But I think the same thing goes for football, man. It's like it's a what have you done lately business.
Mm-hmm.
And if your production doesn't warrant what you're looking for, then you got to go back and you got to evaluate the situation in terms of, hey, do I need to look at myself in the mirror? Is it something that I'm doing wrong, or I could be doing better? You always have to look in the mirror first. I strongly stand on that. What am I doing to improve? What am I doing to be elite? What am I doing to be the best agent I could potentially be? And I think that accountability is the word that comes to mind as you go through, especially for any business. You have to be accountable. And then you can't, you kind of got to stay away from the blame game. But if you know, hey, I put this on tape, I put this work in, I played at an elite level, I deserve X, then at the end of the day, if that team decides they don't want to pay you X because maybe from a numbers standpoint, cap standpoint, can't afford to do it, then okay, cool. You go to the next situation, and that's the name of the game. You go to where you're wanted. If another team is willing to pay you top dollar, then hell, you got to go where they're going to pay you top dollar, where you can do what you do. So, long story short, I want to see the kid win. I want to see Torrey win. Torrey's done an excellent job in terms of, trying to get these guys prepared, and he understands the business through and through. And I think that Devin will more than likely have success when he's in Philly.
Yeah. I hope. Hopefully, I mean, he put himself on a 1-year deal, prove it deal.
Prove it.
Kind of like what we talked about earlier with DP. He said he's on a prove it deal. He said, like he said, you put me on the field, you'll prove it.
Yep. You got to prove it, man. Got to prove it.
Ron, I appreciate it. A lot of good nuggets in there and stuff like that. We talked about. Anything you want to put out for the Washington Commanders? Getting Jaden. Like I said, I know I keep talking about Jenkins is a big deal for you guys.
Nah, man. Listen, man. I think that
What are they looking forward to getting out of Jaden?
Man, listen, he showed a glimpse over the weekend. Humble guy, leader, vocal. He's gonna be the first one in, last one out. Loves the game, competitor. I'm excited for the future for the franchise. I think that they're gonna do a lot of great things. I think they're gonna add a lot of good pieces. They'll take their bumps and bruises, but I think for the most part, with the new ownership, new coaching staff, they're going to do some really good things. And I spent a lot of time just having dialogue and getting an understanding about the direction. And I'm excited for, not only Jaden, but also for the franchise in terms of the direction, because they got a lot of good people who really care about football and they're trying to turn that thing around from where it was under the last owner. So definitely looking forward to that for the Commanders fans. And I mean, I think I plan to be here for a while. I think he plans to be here for a while.
let me get comfortable.
Yeah, let's go ahead and pull up my seat. I like my umbrella and my drink and all that good stuff. So
Yeah, you bougie as hell.
Yeah.
Bougie as hell.
Hey, put my little umbrella in the drink and throw my shades on.
Yeah, that's your thing. Them dark sunglasses.
Hey, Dave,
trying to look like freaking what's his face? Freaking Wesley Snipes and Blade.
Oh, here we go with the Blade.
Ron Shaft?
Oh, man, here you go. Hey, I got a jersey for you too, man. So I'll get you that when I come up for game one.
Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah.
You know what we got game one now.
Yeah, Washington. Yeah. So I was hoping to catch up with Jaden sometimes. That's game one here in Tampa. That's a big deal for him. His first NFL game.
Hey, listen, it's a lot of this going on. It's a lot of this going on. I will say.
You know how these boys go. It's week one, all the excitement, everything. Everybody's chirping. Everybody's 0-0 right now, so everybody can say whatever the hell they want till they get on the field. But that's just being a competitor. That always happens.
Absolutely. But no, man. Hey, I appreciate you, bro, as always, having me on. I know it's been a little while before we got on, but I plan on tapping with you throughout the season and keep doing what you're doing. The videos that you put together and everything, man, I love them. Do a hell of a job, just promoting our clients and promoting our agency, and I appreciate that for us, excuse me, and look forward to doing some bigger and better things with you here in the near future.
Me too. I'm looking forward to it. Ron, love you as always, and we'll end this as we always do. You're the master of everything. What you do with your life, what you do with it is entirely up to you. I'm Blake Anthony, Sports Talk 49. This is the Ron Butler Agency One Athlete Management Group, aka Ron Shaft. All right. See you guys next time.